Lots and lots to talk about as far as French rugby is concerned. Not just the national team, but also the goings on as we look under the bonnet in French rugby, top 14 and Pro D. There are some massive matchups and stories emerging at the moment. Going to get into all of that. Please hit subscribe on the channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave your thoughts down below. But Joe Worsley, I've got to start with the French national team. What are you hearing from your spies in the camp?
Been a big shock. We talked about how shell shocked they were a bit, associating this poor performance, which they a game they should have won, with that World Cup quarterfinal scar they still have. That's a bit open wound in the French psyche around rugby. So there's been a bit of a shock. They're pissed off with Penaud, I think. I'm not sure if he's match fit, because he didn't play very well, but I think they're going to make him get match fit with his club. So he won't be playing. Rumours of Jalibert going home sick. If it's sick this time, because they're going to pick Ramos ahead of him, I'm not sure. Or go 7-1 on the bench. Maybe he's just done a runner. I'm not sure again. So a little bit of drama coming out. Anthony Gelon played really well for Toulouse at Clermont during the week. Flamand came back, played really well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those guys back in the mix ASAP.
Just on the Penaud briefly, like when they say they're cheesed off with him because he's not match fit, is there anything he could have or should have done? Because or is that just a case of they're actually annoyed that he got injured?
I don't know. Yeah, so I was thinking, because you knew he'd been out for X weeks, he had a few little injuries before. I hadn't played a huge amount of rugby leading up to that, and then boom, you just chuck him in there, and then you're pissed off at what was for him a below par performance. So it's a bit of a strange one. Could be rumours, could actually be true. I don't know.
And the 7-1 split, what do you make of that?
Yeah, that is interesting. I think with some of the players coming back, it's going to allow them to have the flexibility to across back row, second row. But Luku gives you that ability. He plays 10, he plays 9. Then Ramos can go back to fullback. Dupont can shift out. You might have a bit of issue around centre. Again, depends who they pick on the wing. So they've got enough flexibility to do it, but 7-1's always a risk. Massive risk. Get a couple of knocks early doors, you can be in real problems very early.
I think it might just be rumours. They might have been trying stuff out, but actually, as you say, because of the risks involved, it would be a ballsy thing for Galtier to do. We'll wait and see whether he actually does it. And when the team is announced, we will be back with more reaction to that. And of course, reaction to the games over the weekend. So another reason, as I say, if you haven't already, to hit subscribe. But some significant rugby, the Premiership in England stops down till the end of March. I always think it's a bit weird. By the time the Premiership comes back, you're going to have to try and remember, who was where and all the rest of it. Not the case with the top 14. The stories continue. And even without the French national players and players representing other national teams, there's some big old games going on at the minute.
Yeah, there are. I think last weekend's round of matches was really interesting. Significant number of away wins. Toulon had a fantastic victory at Montpellier. I say at Montpellier, they actually played the game Béziers because they were doing something to the stadium, but still had 20,000 there watching. A great game of rugby, 34-30 or something, but Toulon are looking like the real deal. They're beginning to look like a team that could maybe push Toulouse or Bordeaux. And it'd be good because at the moment, Bordeaux, Toulouse are way out there. Now you've got Toulon, who are a team who look like they've got great spirit and they've got the firepower necessary to go toe-to-toe with those two teams. So it's making this championship even more interesting. That's one of the standout results.
Some crazy scorelines, by the way. Some crazy scorelines in general. You already mentioned that one. So it was 30 points to 38 to Toulon away at Montpellier. It was Bayonne are into the playoff spots with a win at home to Bordeaux, 36 to 32. I watched that game. And
I watched it. It was incredible, wasn't it?
Brilliant match.
Made me want to be there. I mean, watch our episode on the Bayonne one. It makes you even more want to be there. But yeah, it was kicking off, wasn't it? Just some incredible rugby going on this season. I think we've seen more points scored. The rule change is slightly affecting that. I think people also changing their attitudes, realizing we've got to score points to win. Can't just defend. That's really been around for a few years, really, but it's taking grip now across the board. So you saw some incredible games. I mean, another game, Toulouse scored 35 points at Clermont with a few guys coming back from injury who are internationals, but then most of the rest were 18-year-olds and the second team guys. So it's, again, a sign of their depth and talent they have at that club, that they can just go there and do that. Pretty incredible result there. So Toulon doing interesting things at the top, but at the bottom is where things are really hotting up.
Yeah, that Racing 92 have been reeled in by Van, courtesy of a win for Van. Maybe it wasn't all on Stuart Lancaster after all, but Van managed to get the win, and they are now within 3 points of Racing 92, who are only 1 point behind Stade Francais, who managed to get a win in another crazy match at the
They
weekend.
just snuck over. I think again it's over 35-33 or something. Pau Stade Francais
39-37.
Oh.
Yeah, nuts.
So you got Stade Francais looking pretty poor, massive budget. Racing massive budget, looking pretty poor. Little Van might be able to reel one of them in, and then if they do manage to not finish bottom, which really I'd have hands down to be there, it would be one of the achievements of the century rugby-wise, because the size of their budget, the first time they come up, they only knew that they won that Ascension match, and they only know they're coming up. So they won the playoff, the Pro League final, and that's in June, so recruitment's late. It's incredible that they can do this. It will be incredible. But Racing 92 losing that home to Van is just a shocking result, because, yes, they brought in 10 days before Collazo. I don't know why, as a shock coach to come in and maybe shake things up. He will certainly shake things up. But in terms of what they're going to do on the pitch, it looked like they're even more at sea than they have been with Stuart there. So Racing are in a really worrying position right now. They're going to La Rochelle this weekend. La Rochelle are desperate for a win as well.
But did you see, like, La Rochelle got absolutely pumped by Lyon, and you look at La Rochelle aren't contributing that many players to international sides. They had a team that you would never expect would get 50 put on them by Lyon.
Yeah. So they've had a few prendre la valise, carry your suitcases. I think that's what they call it. I don't know why, but they've taken a few stuffings, haven't they? Recently, which is a surprise for a team that's quite organised and build their game around pressure, organisation, not giving up too many opportunities is what won them 2 European Cups, led to a number of finals. So they're looking a bit shaky. They've looked shaky to start the season, came strong, looking shaky again. So it'll be tough to see if that team can really put it together again.
Yeah, you're seeing there's clear separation at the top of the table with those top through Toulouse, Toulon, Bordeaux. There's Bayonne have got themselves in a strong position, but it's right down to Montpellier. You could see that they're battling for the rest of the playoff spots.
Yeah, exactly. It's really competitive. I think.
Really competitive, and a few wins, and Pau could be with them as well. Equally, if Pau don't turn their form around and pick up some wins, they could easily be their man Perpignan. It's just an awesome, so finely balanced at the minute. The next month is going to be huge.
Yeah, like Racing, if they won with a bonus point against Van, wind in their sails, they could be suddenly thinking about top 6. It's that close.
Oh, we're gonna have to get to some of these games, Joe. Right, so I'll reveal something. I'll reveal a conversation that we had before the season started, where we kind of agreed that if we were going to go to Van, we should probably go at the start of the season, because they'll have nothing to play for come March.
Yeah. How wrong we were. Let's go there.
Yeah, I want to sample that atmosphere. It looks brilliant. But, I mean, they're still down there at the bottom, and at some point we will have that access match, like you mentioned. And flipping our attention to Pro D2 at the moment, your own club, Brive, what are your feelings at the minute?
We're shaky around Christmas. We had a block in which we lost 3 games in a row. Lost a home game, one of those games where you concede a few tries, can't get the ball over the line. Play poorly, and voila. Had a couple of home victories. We are in a place where there's guys coming back from injury, so hopefully you can ride that form forwards, advance, get better, win more games, obviously, and get our game up to standard, because currently Grenoble are out there 10 points ahead or 11 points ahead of us and Béziers. So when we play them, they're the best team in the league at the moment, defending well, kicking well, attacking really well. So they're an all-court team. no wonder they pushed Montpellier so close at the end of last season to go up. A game that went down to the wire. Grenoble are looking like they're going to definitely claim one of those top 2 spots. Behind that, you've got several teams, including us, who are going to be fighting for that second spot, which means a home semi and a better chance of getting into that final.
Aix-en-Provence, Brive, Béziers, Montauban, Soyo, Angoulême, currently in the rest of the playoff spots and separated by 7 points in total. And we're 20 games in, so there's 10 rounds of matches left.
Yeah, I mean, there's a block of 5 coming up after. There's 2 more games, a couple of weeks off during the Six Nations kind of little pause, and then smashing into 5 games in a row in which you'll see the guys come through who can come through. Hopefully,
what is that like?
good enough results not to have at the end of the season.
I want to know what that's like, because the Premiership, the whole Premiership season, including semi-finals and Premiership final, is 20 rounds of matches. So if you win it, you play 20 games. You play 20 games, and we're just starting to
get to
see the way that it's breaking down.
Yeah, exactly. So you're starting to see that gap between the teams that can get in and they can't in both leagues, top 14 and Pro D2. So this is the kind of money time of the season. It's always at Bordeaux, especially our leaders. We had only a couple. They went away for the Six Nations, and it had a huge effect on our team. Cast less so because they had a number of leaders. Pro D2 is obviously less affected by that. A few guys go off for the second tier Six Nations. It's not too badly affected, Pro D2, by this. But it's a point in which during the season you've already been going for many months, maintaining the motivation, maintaining the levels of play. It's where good managers really come in and earn their bucks.
So what have you learned from a coaching perspective? You know, not just at Brive now, but just generally about what it is that good teams that emerge through this period and gain that, or either sustain or gain that momentum needed. What is it that they do?
There is a distinction. Often teams do well at the start of the season. They're really well organised and don't give much up and put an emphasis on structures and organisation. They can get that right, work really hard. You can get results. But it's the teams who, yes, they want to do that, but they're also working on their all-round game, the ability to attack, the ability to feel the game. Those teams that early on, let's go down this path. They might pay a little bit at first, but as the season goes on, they'll just get better and better and better. More attacking threats, better reading when to steal contact, ball at contact, and play counter attack. So those teams tend to come through towards the end of the season.
Biarritz are one of those teams that have dropped right off after setting the pace early, and them and they're right down there. Stade Niçois though, they're cooked, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they came up maybe a season or two too early. They got a big investment coming in soon, and with that big investment, they'll be able to get a more competitive budget to stay in the league. But yeah, they came up a bit too early. Couldn't invest. Probably another player group necessary to stay up, because I think their budget's less than half of ours, so it's always going to be a tough one for them.
Well, keep your eyes on the top 14 and Pro D2 rugby over the weekend while the Six Nations is on. We certainly will be, and we'll be back to report on more of that. And more pressingly, as soon as that French team is announced, as soon as we know who is in, who is out, whether Mathieu Jalibert is actually sick or he's sick, when we know whether it's a 7-1 split with just Maxime Luco on the bench, we'll dissect all of that. So hit subscribe on the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.